Welcome, Meaningful Times with Friends, episode 23. The friends are back. The OGs are here.
Nice.
Willie D, Nathan from Newark, Jason on location, and joining us is a special guest right here. Yeah, there's our special guest. Check it out, everybody. Fan of the show, but definitely an old friend of ours. This is Christopher Nornberg. Hi, Chris.
Hi, everybody.
What's up, man?
Nice to see you, man. It's great. I invited Chris as a surprise for everybody because he's been watching the show. Would you call yourself a fan, Chris?
Absolute fan. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, it's because of his ass. I have this stuff laying around the house, so it's all you, man.
That's good stuff.
Thank Amazon.
The thing I love is because Chris has been an image in the episodes in the past. It's just his Facebook profile picture, and I love the smile from it. So I feel like he's already been on the show, in a matter of speaking, because he interacts with us.
That picture was like over 20 years ago, I think.
Yeah, you look the same. I mean, you look fairly. Look at you. Yeah, looking
pretty much.
healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't age very much, apparently. My crow's feet are a little bit puffier now and shit like that, and I got a nice white streak coming up, but
Yeah. How's things are going in your neck of the woods?
boring. As long as I don't go downtown, I'm all right.
No downtown, no downtown. All right. That could be euphemism or it could be literal. We don't know.
Where do you live?
Davis.
Davis?
Yeah.
There's a downtown.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was fun to go to about, 30 years ago when there was stores, but now it's all restaurants. Basically, students don't buy anything from little mom and pop stores, and then the rent skyrocketed, so all the stores left downtown. Now it's just restaurants. So there's no point in going there anymore.
Did you ever listen to the UC Davis radio station?
Hell no.
You're squandering an opportunity of a lifetime. Like I'm out of range of that station.
What,
You're
UC
right there.
Davis radio?
Absolutely.
That'd be almost as good as NPR. What are you talking about?
No, it's better than NPR. I actually have a long feud with NPR.
Yes, he does. Also, just so our people who don't know, who aren't familiar with our little friend, so Chris Nornberg is a guy we grew up with, sort of a retired skater extraordinaire. He was a awesome skater and an enthusiast and all of that, and also survivor of the very infamous Paradise Fire,
More commonly known as the campfire.
The campfire, yeah, that was terrifying.
I think I would like to say here about the campfire is that it wasn't caused by people camping and letting a campfire get out of control. It started on a camp road, okay? Now people need to get that straight. It drives me fucking crazy when they think, oh, campfire, oh, people were camping out in the mountains and lit the fucking side of the hills on fire. No, it was Camp Road.
Setting the record straight, everybody. It wasn't a campfire. They should really rename that road to Fire Road.
I don't think that road exists anymore.
Yeah, I've been through there. No, I did a show out there about about 2 years ago.
Where'd you go? I mean, there's not much.
Paradise. It was in Paradise. It's still like a lot of burnt trees, and it's surreal because life is growing back, but it's a lot of burnt shit still. So there were people.
Yeah, I never went back.
Yeah, no, I imagined it's pretty scary.
I mean, some of my family went back, but I was like, why?
Yeah,
I have nothing there. Why the fuck go back and see a burnt out town?
You don't want to see the ashes of your stuff.
No.
That doesn't seem exciting.
I just didn't want to see it. I'm like, well, why waste that trip? Why waste the gas?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Very
like,
true.
fuck that. My house was gone. I mean, nothing. But there was a tree stump, and then on top of the tree stump, I left a ceramic pig, or my roommate went back, and the only thing that survived the house besides like some assorted knickknacks was a ceramic pig that was literally as big as my head. And he found that and took it and put it on that tree stump. And so that was sitting out by the road, and it was my ceramic pig. It was like from my grandparents or something.
Mhm.
But that survived.
Mhm.
But
If only they built all the homes out of ceramics, that might have helped.
it'd be hot. How about you don't
Well,
rebuild?
I'm glad we've cheered everybody up with that introduction. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your trauma. I mean, a lot of people talk trauma. That's an actual traumatic experience.
I'm not sure if living in Davis is more trauma though.
Restaurants are not
You know what? I did live in Chico. I think that was more trauma than
There you go. Yeah, Chico.
anything.
Chico's tough. That's if you're not
During the summer.
Yeah, if you're not going to school or actively on drugs, it's a tough place to kick it. So, all right. Well, we've got matters to attend to. I'm not sure. I don't think we have any apologies because we've had an episode off, right? Everybody good? Oh, no, there is an apology. I do have an apology to make. I'll apologize on behalf of everybody. For being misinformed about John Cougar Mellencamp's actual behavior at the concert. We were led to believe that he walked off from the show and never came back, when in fact, when the guy said play a song, he said, "That's what I've been doing, cocksucker," and he walked off, but he came back and he finished the show. And the article implies that he didn't believe it.
You mean by getting a direct link to the article that you could have read yourself?
I'm not pointing fingers here, Bully D. I'm not.
I would. First of all, let me set the record straight. I would never accuse you of that. Okay, I would never accuse you of pointing fingers. That's.
Really? Okay.
So let's just get that
never. I'm always wary of people who speak in extremes. So
yeah, no. I would never.
I'm a Jedi.
But to be fair, all of the things that we talked about actually happened.
The response, the ire of this whole group was, play the hits, just shut up and do your work. And the fact is, he did. He just had a moment because he thought somebody was being rude at his show. I think John Cougar Mellencamp deserved a little more compassion from the Meaningful Times with Friends group. But that's just me. I'm woke. That's how woke people operate. Chris, did you have any thoughts on John Cougar Mellencamp at all?
I haven't thought about that guy since never.
All right, cool.
I thought he was dead, to tell you the truth. I didn't know he was still alive.
Yeah, well, he is, and he's dating milfs.
He's dead to us.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, okay.
What are on those tiny shelves, Chris?
What are on the tiny shelf?
You have a collection. Like, there's nothing on your wall except for like in the corner is like densely populated by a bunch of knickknacks or something. Like
Chris is looking at it like he doesn't know that he's in a room.
I do that. I had to take all my American flags and shit down. I don't want to offend you guys. I did break out the Tacticock for Nate.
So we got that covered. All right. Our first topic of the day. Sometimes we struggle for things to talk about. We don't know. Some things were organic and decided. Something came up that I realized, hey, this is kind of relevant to all of us, and that is AI. Artificial intelligence constantly creeps into our worlds more and more. From there's Chat GPT, there's I don't know. I really don't know about all of it. I just keep hearing there's a lot of news articles always talking, AI this, AI that. And it's going to affect our lives. And being that we're a bunch of old curmudgeons with lots of opinions on stuff, I thought, hey, why not stir up the pot with a little of this AI talk? So I guess there you go. There's your topic, AI. What are you afraid of? Take your time, everybody. I mean, really let it sink in.
Well, it all depends on who designs it. I mean, you saw it with Google's AI.
I didn't even know what AIs were specific to who. Like, I didn't know that we had different.
Well, the people that develop it put in parameters from the get-go. Mm-hmm. So it actually will stop people from doing certain things, and then it'll show things that it wants to show. So they did a study on AI and did like 4 different ones, and then they would ask it for one thing, specific thing, and then they would all the 3 different AI brand or 4 different AI brands would each give kind of a different answer. So they're not all the same. It depends who develops them.
Okay.
So they can set their own parameters.
I'm going with the Terminator logic that this is all one part of like artificial intelligence is just one unit that's trying to overtake us and
to run AI, they have to have like this gigantic server farm.
Mhm.
And forget which one it is, but to run one of them, it takes as much electricity to run it for a day as like they run Iceland for a year. Like it takes like as much money as a small country to run these server farms. It's as much electricity. So that's what they're looking at now is like, how in the hell are we going to power these things? Because you have like 1 million computers running at once. I mean, it takes electricity to do that. So, and then
they're talking about creating their own nuclear power plants just for the AI servers.
Yeah. Because there's not enough electricity. I mean, California is a prime example of not having enough electricity. We buy half our electricity right now from other states. It's ridiculous. So, how they're going to do this, I have no idea. I mean,
they're going to do it through.
They'll figure it out.
Sheer will. And
I mean, the machines will come. Look at the robot dogs they got now. Those are kind of neat.
But the Boston Dynamics dogs, those are awesome, especially when they mount machine guns on them. That's not terrifying at all.
This topic came up because initially we almost were going to talk about the subject of noise being music, noise without people realizing it plays a part in meaningful times with friends, because a lot of our intro and outro music is scored by our one of our friends here, Jason, who is a noise. What do you call it, Jason? What do you call someone who makes noise as music? What do you refer to yourself as?
Well, there was a great documentary about the Pacific Northwestern noise scene called People Who Do Noise. And so I think I consider myself a person who does noise. Yeah.
Okay. I like to I've coined the phrase, and I've heard other people use it, noisician. I've said that. Yeah, you're not impressed.
Well, no, I just don't really consider myself a musician because I have no aspirations to make conventional music.
But my point being, I mean, we go back to our highly debated music teacher, Mr. Reese, gave us what I agree is the definition of music is controlled sound and silence over time. Sure. That because it encompasses the all the work of John Cage, who's like one of the forefathers. Anyways, but the point being that you work with noise, and probably one of the easiest applications I would imagine of AI and some things might be to use that in making noise. Are people doing that?
Using AI to make noise? Yeah, certainly. We saw Fluorescent Gray. We saw them at Godwaffle Noise Pancakes recently. That guy is doing a lot of work with AI. He made the AI film The Thing, which was an adaptation of Who Goes There, which was the basis for John Carpenter's The Thing film. And he did a version that was generated entirely with AI, using AI tools to make the score in many places, not entirely, but some of it was AI generated. And all of the images in the film were generated with AI. So he's been doing a lot of work. The guy, Fluorescent Gray, has been doing a lot of work with AI stuff. And he's an interesting follow on Twitter if you're into conspiracy theories and AI.
It's really strange if you're into conspiracy theories and AI.
Well, I say that because the conspiracy theories and the AI are two separate pillars of his concern. He talks a lot about, conspiracy theory shit, but also AI.
Creates his own conspiracy against himself. Nathan, what are your thoughts on this artificial intelligence movement?
I haven't read too much. I haven't read up very much on what's going on with AI. I think my main two encounters or concerns with it, if you'd want to put it that way, are number one, in my downtime, when I'm working between doing tasks, I fuck around with AI image generators quite a bit, just as a way to battle boredom. And it always is like creating images that somehow have burritos in them. I don't know why. It'll always be like anthropomorphic humanoid tortellini eats a big burrito, or, zombie Morrissey eats a burrito. I don't know why, but that's generally my only experience or connection to AI is fucking around with those dumbass image generators. But on a practical side, in my business in broadcasting, there's a lot of concern that AI will in the future start putting a lot of people out of work, people who are news writers. If AI create, I think some voices are starting to be created using AI technology. And so people who do like voiceovers for commercials, possibly even radio DJs can be replaced eventually by AI voices at some point. So there's a lot of concern that not just in my industry, but across many industries, people are going to start losing their jobs because of this technology. I don't know how legit those concerns are, but I hear people talking about it.
I want to get some of these images of yours. So send me those images.
I've sent them to you. I think I was trying to combine the Cybertruck with burritos at one point with varying degrees of.
I would remember this. Send it to me again because I want
remember a
to
taco.
show our audience.
There may have been a taco Cybertruck, but I think it was burrito. I'm not sure if I remember.
I would remember something like that, but
okay.
I like your opinion. I've heard talk.
There was recently on Netflix a documentary series about Andy Warhol that was narrated almost entirely by an AI Andy Warhol voice. And it was so incredibly off-putting. I mean, the documentary was great.
Yeah.
But it was like an AI Andy Warhol reading his diary entries, and it was so incredibly off-putting. Like you can't help but hear the fakeness of it, and I just wish they hired a sound-alike to do the reading instead.
Get Bill Hader. He probably would work cheap and could do a good impression.
I'm sure, yeah, he can.
Spoolie D, what are your thoughts on this artificial intelligence?
I mean, similar to what Chris was saying, it's really about the people programming it because all it is computer logic. So right now, all it can do is more of like it can do voice recognition because it's merging patterns. The logic, like the ChatGPT, it's just an advanced search engine stuff. So it's just taking data and merging it, which is why it's so energy intensive because it just needs more and more data. The idea of it taking over, you have to realize like the average person working on this stuff are still pretty stupid. And so the idea of it taking over is ridiculous. And I think what Chris was doing, he's treading lightly because he knows how woke you guys are. But if you look at what the Google image had put up, it was like, I mean, you guys would probably just start whacking it hard if you saw what the Google thing, like they were putting in like the Revolutionary War and it was showing like black women like as George Washington. It was like, I mean, it was just fucking like you guys have been hog heaven. It was great. And so like the Google one was like extra super uber woke to the point where like everyone's like, okay, this is a little bit too far. The chat GPT stuff makes a lot of mistakes. And there's also the political biases and also just like the philosophical biases of the people programming it is inherent in that. I mean, I don't blame them for doing it, but they're just people. And then there's just a lot of shit that's like factually incorrect. And I think that's probably the biggest danger of the artificial intelligence are like the misinformation that it can generate.
Yeah, because that's a human's job to get shit wrong.
Well, it's just more convincing when you're going into the computer, right? If you're hearing it from someone, you might be skeptical of it. I mean, you should be skeptical of everything you're told. But then people have gotten really reliant on Google and other search engines for finding truth, and then video proof, right? And they can do video proof or audio proof of like pretty much saying anything. And unless you're Jason, you have that keen ear for fake Andy Warhol, you might be convinced that this is a real person saying a real thing. And so I think that's like the idea of like reaching the singularity where the machines control us. I think is far less likely than human beings using machines to try and like deceive us. And in the case of those Boston Dynamic dogs, kill us. But I think the idea of AI right now, it's a lot of hype to pump up the stocks where they really don't have the electrical or the technological infrastructure to even make it a reality. It's like propaganda and fear mongering with a little bit of truth in it. By the way, David, that background is very fetching. Like it makes you look very handsome. Just wanted to compliment you.
Don't be spoolie. Why don't you keep your fingers on your side of the computer? Here's the thing, AI, the way everybody's talking about it, it's going to take our jobs. We'll just call them what we think they really are, Mexicans. Same treatment as if it's Mexicans. And I really think they should make a Terminator sequel where rather than the Terminators are trying to kill us, they just start taking our jobs and put us out of work, because that's essentially the fear that Spoolie D is referring to. George Carlin pointed out first, all you do is remove electricity and you don't have any of this shit. I doubt AI is going to ever find a way to power itself without just the human factor. So it's
but to be fair, it can absolutely take the jobs of all radio personnel. Let's be very clear about that. Like, it definitely can do that right now. But everything else, I agree.
The funniest thing I've ever seen someone try to use AI for so far is actually a shitty former comic that he was a little scamster from our area. His name's Justin Harrison. I'll name names. And he's a piece of shit who still owes me $50. He ended up like going to LA, being a douchebag down there. Nobody likes him. Quit comedy, married some trophy wife. And I've had him like blocked on all my social medias for years, but he still had my email. And I got an email for a startup he was trying. What he was trying to do was get people who had dying relatives or friends, anybody you love or care about, to get information from that dying person so that when they pass, they would create an AI chat algorithm so that you could chat with your dead friend or relative after they passed, as if
That is the creepiest fucking thing ever.
no shit, but it tracked. It was completely on brand with this scumbag that anybody, if anybody knew him from back in
That
the
sounds
day.
like an LA thing.
No, he's from up here. He's actually from Alameda.
No, but I would expect it coming out of LA.
That's where it was just funny to see him, and I shared the email with anybody that knew him that hated him. I'm like, check out what this dipshit's doing. He's trying to build a startup on the backs of people with dying relatives or friends or whatever. It was just creepy.
Well, that I can respect, but the fact that he's just reinventing the Ouija board, like digitized, like that's not a fucking new concept or a new scam at all. Isn't that a fucked up board game for kids? It's like you want to talk to the dead? Like, yeah. That's fucked up.
You know what would be? They never thought of a crossover of Ouija Monopoly. That would be good. Get in a fight with this game's over. I'm done with you fucking dead motherfuckers.
But anyways, I liked how you repurposed this AI topic just to fucking unleash your personal grudge on this Brandon, whatever his name is.
I didn't do that. That just came up, man, organically. You're the one who tries to project as if there was an agenda here. I'm just talking AI, and that's
organically, like your written AI is Mexicans joke.
No, I thought of that too when I was just listening to you guys ramble. I don't write these conversations. I don't have an AI feeding me my ideas. I also don't imply what you would be doing either. I can point fingers here, but definitely sounds sometimes like you're reading from a script. So
yeah, like that Ouija board should have had chambered for sure.
You could have. Well, again, no accusations here.
I appreciate that. I would never accuse you of accusing me, David. Never.
Don't want to, don't want any bad vibes here.
All love.
But well, Chris seems to be the most knowledgeable about this stuff. How do you know so much, Chris? Are you really you, or are you a computer?
Just looked into it a fraction of an amount.
We don't do that here. We don't look into things. There's one thing I don't like doing is saying that Spoolie D is right about anything, but the fact that it's just a scam to drive up stock prices is probably pretty accurate.
Oh, that already happened. So it's just basically Google on crack. Google is an AI search engine, basically. So
we need a
sped up Google.
We need an AI image of Google on crack. Can you?
I did my images, and it told me that I was using the Microsoft version, and it told me we will not let you. We're not going to make images for you anymore. After about 4 of them, because you have to ask it to do stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually, it said, "Well, I'm not going to make these for you anymore," and it told me to fuck off.
You crossed the line. Yeah.
After a while, it said, "We're not going to do this for you anymore." It got mad at me. And I wasn't asking for anything ridiculous.
I wanted to say, I don't know how well your comedian buddy's business went, because Laurie Anderson has an AI chat bot of Lou Reed that she talks to every day that I think like MIT made for her. If you ask it to, it'll write a song for you, like in the style of Lou Reed.
He worked with Metallica too. So, I mean, I don't know if people remember that terrible album, but Lulu. It looks like a bad AI like combination of Metallica and Lou Reed, and sounds like it too. It's terrible. All right, moving on. our next topic, and yes, we have images that were created by our guest friend Chris Nornberg here through the use of AI to address something that, albeit we're going to get pushback. I already know this, but in our chat and in some of our previous episodes, one might have noticed that Spoolie D is not a fan of San Francisco. However, Spoolie, in response to that, says that he loves San Francisco, which...
So let me explain these real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
The one on the right is for Spoolie because it has the most bicycles in it. And I know he loves bicycles. And then the one on the left was when Nate would drink too much coffee at work and he'd be leaving because he'd be leaving like an explosion of energy. Just getting out of there.
I just love how Nate works at like whatever city building that it's exploding.
This is what it gave me. I don't know. I just said put bicycles and zombies. Like, and that's what it came up with. Oh, and I wanted to make it a movie poster because I was thinking of Escape from New York, Escape from LA.
They're both excellent. I had to use both.
So it was fun, but after those two, it told me you need to stop. Get off of here. I said, "What? I'm making a movie poster." I think it thought I was trying to like steal ideas or some shit. I don't know what it was.
It turned into the Britney fan that said, "Leave San Francisco alone." So, I don't know.
This is me in San Francisco.
I'm gonna take a poll from the group, aside from Spoolie D, and see, based on our chat and our previous episodes topics, do you think that Spoolie D likes San Francisco? Let's start with, I would say, our chief, resident of San Francisco, Jason. What do you think?
I don't know if it's San Francisco or San Francisco politicians that he hates more. I think it's the politicians.
Like San Francisco politicians, Jason. You
can answer. You'll have a chance to answer back, Spoolie. I want to get more of a poll first, and then you can address everything in a long soliloquy. Just one order. So little order, which is something you want in San Francisco as well.
You guys go with your unbridled slander and misinformation.
And not slander yet when they haven't had a chance to speak. I mean, let's let it get to slander before we can call it slander. So Jason doesn't know. Is that correct? Or you're saying
I think his issue is mostly with politicians in general, and San Francisco politicians in particular.
You think it's politician because it was policy that kind of one of the recent policy or attempts to charge businesses to leave San Francisco. That was an article that was sent to us.
Yeah, all that stuff is decided and written by politicians. So.
Yep.
The bicycle rant was stemmed from our talk about the Doom Loop tour.
If you think about it, like back in the day before it was like this, like jaywalking's always been a problem. Like who cares, right? It's decriminalized, whatever. Like it's just walking across the street. If you want to talk about like cyclists are supposed to follow the DMV laws the same as as cars. And these assholes have been basically thumbing their nose and flipping off society, not obeying laws, causing a lot of traffic problems, and then culminating in this jackassery called critical mass, which is a protest without an end game. It's just a bunch of assholes getting together and like creating this self-indulgent anarchy with no end. They're just people who are assholes wanting to be assholes. I have run into these people, I live there saying, hey, just curious about critical mass. What's your end game? What do you mean? Like, what does victory look like? So when you win, what does society look like? What do you mean? And it's just like, if you ever witness it, and I've witnessed it a bunch of times, it's just a bunch of people acting like assholes. So these are affluent people or, people coming from good backgrounds. And then now you just fast forward and it's like, these are the people that fissured the social contract. It's the cyclists, right, who have always like lived in this like comfortable tongue-in-cheek anarchy, but very safe. And now it's like, okay, well, this is the example of like what happens when you don't follow rules. You just take the rest of society, people who actually need a little leg up in society, and you've just role modeled this with your affluent class, and now it's completely dissolved into some form of anarchy. And you know what, Jason? I hate to do this, but I'll say dog owners too. Just completely like saying fuck you to leash laws, right? Like there's off-leash parks, but in San Francisco, everyone knows every park's an off-leash park. And if you tell someone to put their dog on a leash, they will look at you like you're fucking insane. So between cyclists and dog owners, like they're the tip of the spear to the complete disintegration of the social contract.
And then we had blame placed on cyclists and dog owners.
I forgot about the dog.
Well, I didn't forget. We'll refresh the audience's memory too on all of this. So I mean, because that isn't the work of politicians. Nate, what are your thoughts? Do you feel that Spoolie D has beef with San Francisco?
I don't know. So much of our chat is such bullshit between specifically you and Spoolie that some of it I'm not fully taking in. I think maybe as it relates to him moving from here to a southern state, I feel like there's definitely an element of maybe not just San Francisco, but for this region in general, perhaps that maybe there's some contempt there.
Like how pussyfoot.
I don't know if I've ever heard him specifically say, I hate San Francisco, like in a Fox News-ish sort of, this is a dystopian shithole sort of thing.
He does certainly send a lot of articles that are written from that perspective.
Yeah.
As a audience member, Chris, what do you think that Spoolie D has beef with San Francisco?
Critical mass. I hate critical mass too. I agree with him on that. I had to work in San Francisco and I had to be in a car driving. I did that for 9 months and they shut down half the city for that bullshit. And I couldn't do my job.
I just love, I asked you a question and you just blurted out critical mass.
Fisherman's Wharf.
Okay. We used to call them freedom riders because they're we're free, but we're getting in your way so you can't drive. I'm like, yeah, get out of the way, freedom rider.
My impression of it is what are the camps that they call when they're trying to reform gay people? They call them
conversion camps.
Conversion camps.
What the hell?
I feel like Spoolie has gone somewhat from like someone who loved San Francisco, because everything that I know about Spoolie from his time living out here, that dude was in San Francisco doing San Francisco shit, karaoke. Going to clubs, bars, dancing, all just loving all of San Francisco. Lots of friends and all that stuff. And then abruptly moves across the country. Doesn't tell anybody either. Doesn't tell anybody. All in secrecy. Moves all the way out to the far southeast to live below the Mason-Dixon line. So if there isn't a conversion camp vibe to Spoolie's attitude towards San Francisco, I don't know what is. So, all right, time for you to talk, Spoolie. You have the floor, uninterrupted. Go ahead.
I love San Francisco. In fact, I visit San Francisco every month. I lived in San Francisco, like Dave said, did all this. So basically, Dave just made the case for like, there's just like tons of evidence of how much I love San Francisco. And like Jason, and unlike you guys, I lived in San Francisco for a long time. So I lived there like in 4 different places too. So I like moved from San Francisco to different parts of San Francisco because it was a great place. And then I moved to Daly City, which you've been in my house. You could see San Francisco from my house. So I even moved away from San Francisco, but I still wanted to look at it. So I could see the Golden Gate Bridge. I could see Coit Tower, not Coit Tower. What's it called? The Sutro Tower. I could see the sunset. And I continued to go into San Francisco even after I moved out. I hosted open mic when I lived in Daly City in San Francisco. I mean, I find fewer people that have made sweet love to San Francisco and contributed more, as someone being accused of hating San Francisco. I think I contribute a lot to the scene there, in fact. So I wasn't just there like enjoying the fruits of San Francisco. I was planting my own trees. I brought you into the open mic, David. I even helped you contribute artistically to San Francisco, and now you're carrying on the tradition that I don't like to take a lot of credit, but I feel like I was the trailblazer for, your love of San Francisco. Cyclists in San Francisco are a whole nother thing. And I think Chris hit on it. And it really started with like people literally punching my car. I was just trying to go to work. And the dog thing it's just very specific to like, I think it's not the dogs. I love dogs. I love all animals, just like I love San Francisco. It's just the idea of like, and this does go back to politicians, is like they cage the children in these parks, and then the dogs are able to roam free. They don't enforce any sort of leash laws. And if you have a dog like Jason's, like, who cares? Like, what's he going to do to you? Just yap at you. But there are some pretty big fucking dogs out there, and some pretty big dogs I wouldn't feel good about keeping in a very small apartment. And it's less about the dogs themselves, but the owners that like coop these giant animals up in these small spaces and then they take them out and they shit all over the place. And the smell of piss has always been there omnipresently. But anyways, I see no evidence of me hating San Francisco at all. There's just certain aspects inherent to the city, mostly just bicyclists. Homeless doesn't even bother me, quite honestly. Like
you don't. Oh, who's the current mayor?
London Breed.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on London Breed?
I mean, she seems to flip flop a lot, but she's a politician. Like to Jason's point, I don't like any mayors. I don't like any politicians. I think they're all fucking evil, self-serving, parasitic. And then if you get to the federal government, they're all fucking murderers. So like, yeah, I mean, London Breed in the fucking like pantheon of politicians. I mean, I don't think she's killed anybody like all of the people that you voted for president ever in your lives. So yeah, I mean, she's all right. She's not my favorite, and I'm not the one who fucking had the hard on for the DA. Like all the fucking community rose up and fucking recalled the DA because he was too liberal for San Francisco. Like that has nothing to do with Spoolie D, man. That was all San Francisco on San Francisco. And I would just caution my fellow San Franciscans, because unlike Dave, I was a San Franciscan for a long time, that this may be a conspiracy, all this like crime, just to fucking bringing in a hardcore police state. So all of this shit, now they're starting to fucking pass laws about like 24/7 cameras and the police being able to access people's Ring doorbells. So I don't think this is a left-wing thing. Actually, this is a fucking right-wing dystopia they're trying to bring in. Lax on crime, make you fucking like beg for authority, and then they're going to come in and daddy's going to come with his cameras. And then now you're going to have the fucking like dystopia and the authoritarianism. But that's not because I hate San Francisco. I love San Francisco. I feel bad that it's come to this point. Anyways, thanks for the opportunity to speak on San Francisco, a city that I love and adore, Dave.
I think you love San Francisco the same way O.J. Simpson loved Nicole Brown Simpson. There was such a love that you want to murder it. But, make a strong case there or whatever. And I don't live in San Francisco. I particularly don't love or hate San Francisco. It's a city. It's hitting hard times. That's all I know. But those hard times were a long time coming, it seems like, based on a lot of issues. But all right. But that was just our little thought, because we do get in the chat, we get a lot of news articles relating to a lot of San Francisco based stuff from a guy who left San Francisco, the area, and pretty much the Bay Area in general. So just seems like a dude who broke up with his girlfriend and then won't stop talking about her. That's all.
So I was watching the news about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there was a school bus that in South Carolina that ran into a mobile home, and they both exploded on fire. I was wondering if Spoolie had anything to do with that.
No.
It made it on the local news. I don't know how.
I didn't hear about that.
No, okay.
I like. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for just.
Well, I was surprised it made it on the Sacramento news. So I was like, well, maybe it's somebody from California that did it.
I saw the story. I saw the story too.
It's just Spoolie D's way of saying hi. Because also that was the other thing. Recently, a cyclist ran into a cult favorite actor, an actor of cult movies, Bill Moseley, who is most known for playing Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and then later on he's in the Rob Zombie movies of House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects as Otis. And he was ran into by a bicyclist who then took off. So it was a hit and run on a bicycle. And when brought up to Spoolie said that was in North Carolina, not South Carolina. So there's a big difference, world of difference, apparently. Between
there's a lot of difference, actually. But yeah, so I just looked up that article. So I guess some kid took the wheel of the school bus. It was a college student. So I don't know. I mean, that's
Spoolie says he just looked it up. How do we really know? I mean, maybe we're just seeing evidence played out.
It was the same mobile.
Yeah, I just looked it up, and it was a college kid that took the wheel. It's just shady. Anything else?
No. I appreciate the accusation. I mean, that's what I'm here for.
That's solid finger pointing, Chris. Thank you for your service.
I was just wondering.
I would say coming in with research. I like it.
Yeah.
I would say that's more plausible than thinking that I hate San Francisco. Let's just put it that way.
I don't know, man.
Probability scale.
I don't know. You're seeing it. I don't know.
I wasn't saying he did it. I was just wondering if he saw it or if it was his mobile home.
It's what a good DA does. I know you took him down, but I'm bringing the American flag back up behind me, just for you.
Now
But
my American flag's up here.
yeah, but I'm putting it right behind me, right here. This is
Mine's right
for
here.
America,
Oh, yeah.
right here.
Damn the Rockets, red glare.
Follow the
No,
rules,
you-
everything will be all right.
I'm sorry you hate the country, Nathan.
Yeah, man.
You can't see right now, but I'm kneeling.
Don't let these Mexicans and
Or a picture
AI
of
take our
Putin.
jobs. All right, fucking.
There's nothing wrong with San Francisco. I mean, this is a beautiful city. I have no problem with it. I'm just disappointed to see what's happened to it. Is what
Like a
I'm
lot of
kind
people are. A lot of people are. We're not,
I
and we're
think
not.
that's a
accusing,
fair statement. Yeah.
we're not accusing you of any dislike towards San Francisco. We want to make sure we're pointing the fingers at the right person. Spoolie D, who has disdain and, dare I say, love hatred towards San Francisco these days. So
Kind of sounds like I'm the most bullish on this city out of all of us, actually, but okay.
yeah, no, you're holding a city to task that you don't have to live in. So it's, Jason should be the one that. Jason, what are your thoughts on San Francisco today?
It sucks. I'm only here because of
You're only there because of what?
inertia.
Inertia?
Like I
Really?
lived in the same apartment for like 20 something years. So at this point, moving would be just a pain in the ass. And like I couldn't live as cheaply anywhere else. So
You don't love San Francisco today?
I kind of don't. There's like a lot of what I used to love is not here anymore. It's all been bought up and converted into something else, more expensive. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm mostly here because it's easier than moving. But at the same time, I've designed my life so I can everywhere I go, I can just walk there. So it's pretty good. And
Nice
like,
flip flop there. You could be a politician.
but it kind of sucks. It's not the city that sucks, it's the people that moved here and took it over.
Gotcha.
So
Is it like the tech? Is it the tech stuff?
yeah, everybody walking around with their face in their phones and like trying to avoid at any cost like having a human interaction. All those fucking people need to fucking die and go away, or die or go away, or both, whatever.
Careful what you say. You might have to apologize later when you get
No,
negative.
this is a well-reasoned and permanent feeling on my
You
part.
want them to die. Okay.
I do.
It's on the record.
Everybody's gotta die sometime, might as well be sooner rather than later.
There's some things that haven't changed. I was in San Francisco 2 weeks ago, and I was at this bar.
Of course. How would you not know about it? Yes. Tell us about it. What happened?
I was just very San Francisco. Like the bar closed, and they just started all doing like coke and just talking nonsense for like 3 hours. And I didn't leave because I didn't know who I was supposed to ask to let me out, and so I just sat there and watched them all do coke and just talk in circles. That's very San Francisco. So that part hasn't changed.
There's just probably more coke with fentanyl, and they'll die. Right, Jay? All right, cool. All right, moving on. I think after all of this chat, I think this will lead really well into our song for this week, because we got lumped into Generation X, even though we were on the tail end of it. We are all like 76, 75 born babies. And we were all roughly in our early teenage years when a song came out that was kind of confusing, I think, to some extent, because it was just a standard rock tune. Had a kind of a cool riff, but it was black dudes who made it, which wasn't kind of the norm at the time. It was a band called Living Color. The song is called Cult of Personality, which still is on the radio from time to time. It's still a catchy enough tune. And it was a band. Not long after the band, there was a show called In Living Color. It's a sketch comedy show started by Keenan Ivory Wayans that was somewhat, not had anything to do with, I don't even think Living Color, the band, showed up once on the TV show. But the song Cult of Personality was a huge hit, and yet they never really had any other hits aside from that. They kind of, in this one song, I don't want to call them a one-hit wonder per se, because one-hit wonders tend to like just do that hit and then they disappear. Living Color never necessarily disappeared. They're a rock band. I think they still play even today. Vernon Reid is kind of the guy who put the band together. He's a virtuoso guitar player, really amazing guitar player. However, the band itself, I even felt this back then, was kind of somewhere between really innovative and really corny. when I heard the song, I'm like, wow, this riff is dope. And then I hear the lyrics, I'm like, these lyrics are dumb. But I don't even know what a cult of personality really is. I think it's something that was said before, but so let's go around the group and see what everybody thinks.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment, basically, that they are somewhere between pretty cool and extremely corny. They really erred on the side of corny, though, I think, which I don't know how much of that was because that's what they were going for, pop hits or whatever, but like Glamour Boys, like what the fuck?
That was one of their other songs, yes.
Yeah,
Glamour Boys.
but this particular song, I remember it was cool. It was cool as fuck.
Mm.
But nothing else I ever heard from them ever really like had the same kind of like this song, is cool kind of vibe.
In our chat, one of the assertions Jason made was that Mike Patton, the singer of Faith No More, the second singer who joined Faith No More when they were on the cusp of success, he started mimicking or according to Jason, started mimicking some of what Corey Glover, the singer of Living Colour, was doing. The only thing I saw that was similar was all this splash color shit which is kind of like this late 80s fashion that
style of the time
they were kind of pushing, of like just this splash color art type stuff. I mean, you can see it in this image right here, but I don't know where that style came from. I always think of workout pants, that when people used to wear the baggy workout pants and they were always splashy colors and all that shit. It even was in skate fashions when, because I've known Chris since elementary school, but when we started hanging out at the beginning of junior high, that was kind of when skating it wasn't as popular as it is now, but Bones Brigade were becoming popular. And then even in some skate fashions, they were trying to bring I'm thinking of like Billabong or Jimmy's shit. I don't know. They kind of there was one of these companies, these whack companies would be doing like splash color shit, because it's Living Colour, I guess. I don't know. It's just disappointing because the riff in Cult of Personality is really heavy and different. The solo reminds me of Tom Morello, even, which everybody loved Rage Against the Machine later. And I'm like, wow, they could have kind of been like, if they kind of went a little more Public Enemy in their tone, they could have been a better version of Rage Against the Machine or whatever.
I think this song came out like right when my music tastes started forming. I remember thinking the song was actually cool as shit. I liked it a lot when it came out. It's sort of when I was a teenager, I wouldn't say I liked a lot of music that black artists were putting out. I was sort of transitioning from liking sort of new wave bands that were out in the 80s to more like bands like The Cure and the Smiths, all that British shit. And then I got into harder stuff a few years afterward. But this was sort of a song that sort of helped, at least at the time, expand my taste a little, because I didn't like hip hop, I didn't like soul, I didn't like R&B. So it was cool that there was a all black band that was putting out music like this. And as much as we look at it now as kind of a novelty, that was pretty cool at the time. It probably wasn't until maybe Body Count that there was another band that was an all black band, but still Body Count a few years after this, we're still sort of living in that world of like, wow, I can't believe some black dudes are making like thrash metal-ish kind of music. You know what I mean? Like, they're not really comparable in terms of sound, but the novelty that they both were banking off of was kind of similar.
And the odd thing was, we wouldn't know it until after, it seemed like, but no one knew of the Bad Brains prior to that. And they definitely didn't know about a band called Death that was out of Detroit long before that. And the fact is, I think I became aware of Bad Brains after Living Colour, but it was through both their album Quickness, and also Living Colour did a cover of Sailin' On later on. That was probably the only other song by Living Colour that I really liked, and they played it really well. It almost, when I heard it, I was like, I almost thought it might have been Bad Brains. And
I would say Fishbone were probably another band.
Fishbone was another popular one.
In this realm of bands that sort of had crossover appeal, sort of ska, a little bit of punk, maybe kind of soulish too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Chris, what are your thoughts on this song?
I remember it. I was just indifferent. It was good. It wasn't good. I don't know. But the only thing I could never get over is the goddamn body glove wetsuit the dude was wearing in the video. Short sleeve, shorts, fucking. It's like, dude, you're not surfing or anything. Why the fuck are you wearing a wetsuit on stage. Like, really?
That would be so fucking hot. It would be
sweat.
I
crazy.
know it would be so fucking hot. It's like even with the shorts, it's like, come on, man.
Frontman's a lot of work. He needs to absorb the wetness of the.
He's jumping around, he's sweating in there. I bet he couldn't barely get the damn thing off because it's sticking so hard.
You can see the outline of your junk trying to get chicks. I don't know, something.
But I did like the guitarist's white suit jacket with the colorful shit on it. I always thought that was funny when people would wear suit jackets, just because that was just fucking 80s. It was awesome.
Didn't you experiment with some suit jackets for a second there?
No,
You never did?
when I went to prom, maybe.
I don't know.
Or I went to the San Jose Symphony one time and wore a suit. Went to a wedding, wore a suit.
You don't want to know what it is? Is the photo we use a lot is from your profile pic where you're at a wedding, making your
that's
your shit eating grin.
before, after. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was doing something formal.
All right, so you never experimented with suit jackets. All right, that's good.
No, they're uncomfortable. Hell no.
All right,
I was skating most of the time, so you're not gonna wear a suit jacket skating.
Jason, you wore some suit jackets from time to time, correct?
Yeah, polyester, like my grandfather's like old lime green polyester leisure suit jacket. Yeah, I had a bunch of leisure suit jackets back in the day.
Didn't you have the one with the elbow patches?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird thing. Like I don't remember how it came. I think it was just like I saw the green suit and I was like, oh, can I wear that? And then my grandma went crazy and like got me a whole bunch of fucked up old shit from Goodwill one year. So I just had like a stockpile all at once. It was kind of cool. My grandma helped me with my high school fad.
All right, bumping the Mr. Perfect background, so appropriate.
You like that?
Spoolie D, what are your thoughts on living?
I knew Dave would recognize the Corey Glover's WWE twin without even his face. He's like, oh, I got Mr. Perfect back there. They wore the same outfit. Hey Nathan, Dave bought a special edition Body Count album. It was a cassette and it came in a little mini body bag.
Oh, I did. No, it was a CD. It was a CD. It wasn't a cassette.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
But-
Oh, is that the one with Cop Killer
Yeah,
on
I
it?
don't think you have Cop Killer on the chest there.
It is on here.
No, but
Yeah.
is it tattooed on the chest of the guy on the cover?
It is.
It is? Oh, you got it. Okay, yeah. No, you got
Yeah.
a new one right there.
Yeah.
Before
that's a
Charlton
second one.
Heston took it away from us. So Charlton
Yeah,
Heston ruining all good things.
I still play that There Goes the Neighborhood riff every now and then. It's a good riff.
Your thoughts, though?
Yeah, I mean, the cult of personality, it's a pretty common term. It's basically just like that's where they're talking about Mussolini and John F. Kennedy. It's where these people like captivate the masses and you don't really think about what they do or you don't really hold them accountable for what they say. People just get like obsessed with this person, this image, and all these lyrics about like,
Neon lights, Nobel Prize. When a leader speaks, that leader dies.
Yeah, when they speak the truth. But like it says, I exploit you, you still love me. I tell you 1 and 1 makes 3. That's like straight out of 1984. So I mean, you can pick whoever you want. I don't want to get political because it happens.
You got political, buddy. It's too late.
I thought 1 and 1 makes 3 is
calling out.
now.
Yeah, you're calling out politicians and you're defending lyrics. Look at you, man.
Anyways, to your point, the main riff and also the solo and everything, it's a really well written like pop song with like really cool, unique guitar work on it. It's catchy. I think it's about 1 verse too long. Like after the solo, they probably should have gone into
They
that.
do 2 solos. They do 2 solos.
Yeah,
it's
a little long.
That's part of the thing because soloing generally comes in the standard formula. It's verse, chorus, solo, last verse or chorus or both.
And they just kind of restarted back into the verse after the second solo, and it was just unnecessary. But I do like I like the hard out. I mean, again, it's cheesy, right? It's like heavy-handed. It's not there's not a lot of metaphor in there. They're just saying like, they're literally calling it out, and they're giving examples of what the cult of personality is. And then I do like the musically though, in terms of sample use, I do like the outro with the "Ask not what you can do for your country." Like not from a message thing, like, oh my God, that's so profound, but just musically and from a sonic standpoint, it sounds really cool on the outro. So
And they
yeah,
speed it up. They speed it up faster at the end.
yep. Yeah, no, it's really good. And for like if you're into that heavy-handed like shit, like it's a good song. It's too bad they didn't have anything as listenable. And it was a novelty at that time to like watch like an all black heavy metal group, but it wasn't like it was just like straight up
Hard rock. I would call them hard rock, not heavy metal. That's my.
I still no, I'm not up to date on all these terms. So dudes with guitars playing loud with distortion pedals. So whatever you want to call that. But anyways, and I agree for the record to close out Spoolie D's analysis of this. I do agree with Jason the similarities of Mike Patton's voice on the Epic. On that album, Epic is very reminiscent of Corey Glover. I wouldn't accuse him of co-opting it, but it is very similar.
The album is the real thing. Epic. It's the song.
Yeah,
is called Epic,
terminology, whatever.
I mean, you dot your I's and you cross your T's. So I just would hope that you would get those facts correct. I don't know. Living Color is one of these bands that I always felt was a disappointment because that song kind of threw down a gauntlet. And then, I bought the cassette. I get the cassette. I listen to it. And I'm waiting for another song that's as cool as Cult of Personality, and it never came. And not only that, a song called Glamour Boys shows up. That
so bad.
Is the puffiest. It is the pink in the Living Color logo in song form, and I don't mean that like
it's just pretty gay.
It's
I've only ever heard gay people refer to something as being fierce, so that's pretty gay of them to talk about how they're fierce and everything. Yeah.
That's our gay dude, resident gay dude, saying that. Vernon Reid is an amazing guitar player. He has an ability to write some really cool, unique sounding riffs that sound like I would call heavy metal. And then you temper it with Corey Glover's, kind of soulful vocals, which, I'm not nitpicking the lyrics. Lyrics are this or that. It's just he has a cool voice. But the song that actually points out what I hate the most about Living Color is the song Tight, when you pointed that out, because it has a good riff of this da-na-na-na-na-na or whatever. It's got like a heavy kind of an offbeat sounding riff. And then it goes to a chorus that sounds flowery as shit. The two don't mesh. It sounded like they had two completely different parts that they just put together, and it just sounds lame. And
it kind of like the leather jacket over the wetsuit?
Very true. Wow, Chris, I love how the fashion does line up with the brand of the music. So, but it's one of those things that, like, if anything, it kind of foreshadows what came later with the new metal, which essentially is just rap and metal put together, and then they fused it together, and some people did it better than others. But Living Color was like one of these bands where I'm like, wow, you had something really cool with this one initial song, and it was very passionate. It really, again, it was a song that sounded like it was throwing down the gauntlet, and the rest of the gauntlet just sounded as lame as splashy paint fashion. So I mean, in that sense, they were on brand, because I hate these clothes. I hate a lot of the fashion of all this stuff, but I liked where they were trying to come from. It was weird to see a band like kind of throw down that heavy a song and then follow it up with nothing that really felt as good. So I don't know, it was disappointment in many respects.
Just to be clear, the only class I ever failed at Cal State Hayward was music, so I focused on the wetsuit.
Well, that's fine. We don't qualify.
Don't fall victim to credentialism. I got an F in chorus and an F in guitar class in high school. And internationally, I raked in about 2.5 cents of music royalties this last month. So don't be so hard on yourself.
It's true. I mean, and
I just thought it was funny that I failed a fucking music class.
Yeah, you want to know why you guys failed? Because you both have shitty attitudes in school. That was really it. I went to school with both of you. Shit attitudes in class. Okay, that's bottom line what it is. The weird thing, bringing one thing back to Living Color, the one thing that it also helped open up was seeing some of what I would say was the culture's underlying racism that did exist, but it wasn't as apparent until you saw something that, you hear this band and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, wait a minute, black dudes aren't supposed to be playing rock. And then they will, without missing a beat, put on Jimi Hendrix right after that. And I'm guilty of it too, where it's like I was more like, oh wow, cool. They're all black dudes. I hadn't heard Bad Brains yet, and I'm still a fan of the Bad Brains in spite of some of their kind of problematic behaviors at the time of their existence. But it was unique at the time. We weren't aware of guys like Eugene Robinson, who was a singer of Oxbow Today, who at the time was in a punk band called Whipping Boy. We weren't, we were kids. We're fucking kids. We don't know any better. So this was the access that we had to it. And so, yeah, and that was the other disappointment. It's like, wow, here's one cool song by this all black dude band, and then no others. I still had that cassette, and I listened to that. It was weird. I couldn't even go back and listen to the song I liked because the rest of the album kind of sucked so hard. It's very disappointing. Corey Glover's a cool dude, though. I've heard him on podcasts and stuff. He's actually pretty funny. So, Mike Patton probably stole that from him, too. Anyway,
Typical.
yeah,
Fucking typical.
you know how these white artists are. Any other closing thoughts, everybody? I don't know. Anything else? You guys all good? Bully D, did you say everything you needed said?
I mean, I don't think that's actually humanly possible, but yeah, I'm good for today. Just this is like, as I was scrambling for images, this is the last thing I had on my computer. Coincidentally, I just had this on my computer. I don't know why.
Yeah, coincident. There's that. Yes,
but
you are OJ.
Doesn't
Man.
mean anything.
If I did it. Whatever. All right. Well, that's been our show. Everybody, want to thank our guest Chris Nornberg for joining us. Thank you. I'm gonna rub my foreskin for him in honor of him being here.
Yeah, straighten your back out, huh?
Yeah, I want to make sure my head grows and see what happens. So it's an inside joke for our audience. Back when I was a child, we were in 7th grade arts and crafts class. And I'll be perfectly frank, I did not know much about sex, sexual behavior, the anatomy, anything else. Chris apparently had the knowledge of a porn star by 7th grade, and knew all things dick, vagina related or whatever. And in Miss Goldblursh's class, when we were drawing, we were sitting at the same 4 desks all brought together. I don't even remember who was sitting with us. But Chris said something regarding foreskin or whatever, and then you're like, Dave, you know what your foreskin is, right? And I had no idea what you were talking about. So naturally, I said for the skin on my forehead. And it's been a running Nornberg family joke ever since, that not only would they laugh at me there, but when I would go to the Nornberg household, Chris's older brother, Mark, Stu, father. Actually, I think Stu never really paid attention. He was too busy watching TV.
All he did was watch sports. He didn't know what was going on.
It was Mother Nornberg, who I remember distinctly, who very much, the Nornberg face very much, kind of stems from her. And I remember her looking at me, and she rubbed her forehead to make fun of me, and smiled. And I was just like, wow, I'm an inside joke with this whole fucking family. My God. So
I don't remember that at all.
You wouldn't. I do, because that's how trauma works, Nornberg. So anyway,
Dave holds grudges. Don't think he doesn't remember every
grudge. I can laugh at it today. I just have a good memory of I know something Chris does remember. Karma trying to rape me at Matt Walden's house. He was fully there when they were trying to get on the phone to call my was it my crush at the time, and Matt Walden had if you've been to his house, you saw the golden retriever Karma, and Karma, I tripped and fell on the ground, and that's when I felt a big whoomp on my back, had 2 paws holding me down. And Chris and Matt dying laughing as I'm about to be humped by Karma. It was an attempt, and
everybody that went to Matt Walden's house got humped by that dog. You're not the only one.
Not from behind, man. I think
that dog tried to hump me about 1,000,000 times. It just wouldn't stop. And that dog, if you remember, that dog was huge. It was bigger than we
big were. Ass dog. No, I never saw it try on any of you guys. You say this, I don't know if I believe.
I thought it jizzed on cells.
It might have that I do remember hearing something about that.
See, the thing is it had a new target.
Our good friend Michael Sills. Yes, I do believe it came on Michael. It also it went on the cat Puss. I remember one day, yeah, he had a cat named Puss, and Karma spent at least 10 minutes drilling her face or his face into Puss. It was ramming his head into Puss on the ground, like knocking it down and dragging it across the carpet. And I remember Matt Walden with his shit-eating grin, ever so proud, saying, "I guess Karma wants some Puss."
Yeah, the cats' names were Puss and Boots.
Yeah. And
I think Boots was dead at that point.
yeah, probably. I don't remember a Boots, but yeah.
That dog was nuts.
Yeah.
It wasn't fixed, so it just wanted to fuck everything.
You know what's funny was and Matt was a child of Lockheed, so there might be some conspiracy to the culture of weaponry and
Weaponize the dog, huh?
dog rapists. Yes, I think there's a trickle down effect of our culture.
Yeah, the dog needed some of this.
Brute Lube. You get your back. There you go. You got to make it right there. There it is. Brute Lube. Anyways, all right. So that is our show. Want to thank Chris. Want to thank everybody being here. Spoolie D, Nathan from Newark, Jason on location. I've been Mean Dave, and we'll be back another time with some more topics no one gives a fuck about. And thank you. And also, hey, if you enjoy the show, I don't know, if you have friends, tell them. Maybe check this shit out. I don't know. Try to drive up our viewership from the solid 1 to 200 views to, I don't know, maybe 200 to 300.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah,
and
like,
hit that notification bell.
Violently sodomize that like button.
I don't know. Make them suffer what you suffer. That's what I like to say. If you didn't enjoy it, tell your enemies. Make them witness. So, all right, that's our show. We'll be back. Thank you. Peace. All right. So